Welcome back, everybody. We've got our top three for the APAC Finals. Only one, though, will advance to BlizzCon and the World Finals. My name is Sid Subitis Thompson, joined on the desk by Joe Fernandez and Dilly. We've got an exciting conclusion ahead of ourselves here. Will Order have the lower bracket run? They've had to go a grueling entirety of this event. Every single series they've had to play, they're going to have to play back to back to back. Meanwhile, their opponents will be sitting pretty uncomfortably, watching them have to do this battle. Perhaps fatigue will cost them the tournament. Unitas, a little bit of an unfortunate demise in the upper bracket to Game Face. Now in the lower bracket with their three-man roster, the Shower Priest, Hunter, Shaman. How are we feeling about Unitas?
I'm very scared for them. I feel like the melee cleaves have always been a hard matchup for that Hunter Shadow Priest. Order run the melee cleaves better than anyone in this tournament so far from what we've seen. So I am very scared for them. I feel like due to that on compositions, I feel like Order should be able to take this one. But I mean, it's Unitas. You can never really count them out.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this because the thing is, the way I was thinking everything would play out is if Unitas makes it to the finals and then Game Face kind of knocks Order down in the lower bracket or knocks anyone down, and then you go to the finals, that I was thinking, Unitas wins that matchup, and I was thinking that was favored, but honestly, it seems that Game Face kind of played in a way that once they adapted to that Shadow Priest Hunter comp, it actually seems like that it should not lose that matchup, and because of that, now they're going up against Order, who pretty much always just come clutch. They practice hard and they adapt very quickly. I think it's going to be really hard for Unitas. I'm really worried for them. I'm really worried.
Do we think we're going to see Fresh Rogue at all? Or just the melee cleaves?
Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like the melee cleaves. I don't think the Rogue comes out. Even though the Rogue Mage Paladin did very well, it was off the back that Rogue Mage Paladin, it's Sixo, Shredded, and Cheesy Nacho all playing their main characters. Now, for Order to play that, it will be two ults, and I feel like Unitas will kind of outplay that. Whereas the melee cleaves are a safer matchup, more of their mains towards Order, more in their comfort zone. So I feel like we won't see Fresh Rogue. I feel like it will be a melee cleave. The question is which one.
All right, what composition will Order play is the question. Unitas, we know what they've got. They've got a Shadow Priest and a Hunter and a healer. Order know that, and they can exploit it. They've had a long tournament run, only thanks to their defeat earlier on to Grey, but now they've overcome that in the grudge match. Grey have been sent home. There is now only 3 Australian, New Zealand teams that remain in the competition, and only one spot to BlizzCon. $36,000 on the line, $13,000 first place prize, $9,000 second, $7,000 in third. So the difference of doubling your money potentially on this series if you can advance forward. Order likely to have a lot of confidence. Unitas need to shake off their defeat and play as well as they did yesterday if they want to find victory.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Order are looking very strong. I mean, last year, bear in mind, they did this. They actually lost and then were making that lower bracket win. So, Order could definitely do it again. I won't even count them out for one bit. The question is, what could they do against Game Face as well? They firstly need to be Unitas. I feel like if they play a strong melee cleave, they should be able to, but then they're going to have to face Game Face.
Yeah, even Unitas actually said the same exact thing. I was listening to them talk to each other, and they were laughing and smiling, talking to Order, and they're saying, for some reason, you guys just always do better when your backs are against the wall. You always just do poorly at the beginning, and then from the lower bracket, they just dominate, especially when it comes to those LAN environments. It's like, they get that wake-up call, that, splash of water in their face, whatever you want to call it, and then they're just so focused. And like we said, their melee cleaves, they're the best melee cleaves, and we've seen how versatile Order is. Plus, I think the thing that makes them do so well when they're in the bottom is because we've talked about Oxygen kind of being that person that picks the comps for their team. They're able to observe every other team play versus everyone else, and they can kind of break them apart, understand what is needed to do to beat them, and then they can always prepare for their opponents. So from here on out, I think Order, they're just going to be so prepared for anything that either of the remaining teams throw at them, because both of these teams are essentially one tricks left, whereas Order is the only one who is super, super versatile. Unitas was the team that was versatile in the same way, and now they're limited to one composition, and we can just see that Order, I expect them to break that apart.
Well, if you're a Unitas fan, let's hear it in the chat. If you're a fan of our reigning APAC champions, Order, let's also hear that in chat. We're going to be crowning a champion by the end of today. This will be a best of 5 final lower bracket round, a battle for second place, and an opportunity at first. As expected, Order will be running their melee cleave, their Demon Hunter, their Death Knight, and their Restoration Shaman. How can Unitas navigate victory against this composition, Joe?
I mean, Unitas will just need to get really good crowd control on auction, but it's going to be difficult with that Relentless Talent and that reverse magic coming out from Fresh, which he already used to reverse that trap. They need to find kill windows onto Yosuke, but it's going to be very difficult. The fact that Death Knight is so durable early on, and I feel like Order will be able to just run Voltron with the mana burn or the constant pressure on the Fitz. It will be difficult for Unitas to win this one, and Yosuke is actually knowing to play that Frost Death Knight. If he can cleave Fitz and that Hunter pet, he should be able to get a lot of pressure. Right now, though, they use the anti-magic zone with the full trap on the oxygen. They try and haymaker Yosuke out of that. Pretty sneaky plays. Full bash on the oxygen. Bear in mind, doesn't have the trinket. The Mind Bomb drops in right now. Yosuke getting really low on HP. The Darkness has to get used. And this is the opener that Unitas wants.
Yeah, I actually think it's quite interesting. I do think that Scatterplay is quite good at actually killing these Death Knights, especially when they're playing Death Knight Shaman. Especially now that this comp is not as good as it was last season. Maybe Yas needs to play Unholy in this matchup instead of Frost, because that might give them that extra pressure, because we saw that actually happen when Team Light went up against Unitas. They were doing better with that Unholy DK. Ooh. We could see Demon Hunter DK being better than the Warrior Demon Hunter that we also saw other teams play, but I mean, Yasuke's still getting pressured so heavily. I think he needs to be Unholy. That's the only thing I see, because they're not getting any pressure on the Fitz and Voltron. I think Shadow Priest Messenger, that deals really well with Frost DK. I think that's actually the answer that people have been looking for Frost, is doing that combination together. Now Voltron, he's being swapped to Fresh and Yas. They're trying to get on him. They're trying to sit on him as much as possible. But Voltron, he looks fine. Auction, he's actually losing on mana to a Restoration Druid. And keep in mind, he has a Demon Hunter. Demon Hunters have mana burn, so I don't know. This does not look good for Order.
Kultiran Racial Haymaker, a punch in the face and a knockback is actually a great answer to the Demon Hunter Death Knight composition. Demon Hunters and Death Knights need to be in melee range to heal themselves with Leech and Death Strike. Also, the defensive anti-magic zone and Darkness are stationary, so Unitas can exploit this Haymaker Racial to knock down the defense that the composition Order are running is known for. This could be an opportunity for victory. Let's see Order switching targets, getting off Fitz and going on Vital. This seems to be a vital strategy for every team. As soon as they switch to the Hunter, they start building a lot more momentum. Let's see how Unitas deal with this target switch up.
I like that what they did just there. Order need to do that more often. The grip into a double Chaos Nova with Yosuke's pop on the Frozen Pillar and that chill streak. That's the way they need to create the pressure. If they don't time that, then there is no point playing that Frost Death Knight. So they need to do a better job with their offensive goes. Otherwise, Unitas are actually looking pretty good. Voltron also earlier sneaked up Fovo Drink. Now he's looking for a bash clone, but a nice deny, getting that grip stun onto him with a mana burn. But actually, I believe Fitz actually life gripped him out of it, so well played by Fitz right there. Yeah, showing his full potential on that Shadow Priest, being able to grip him out of those mana rifts, keep him from mana rift as much as possible, and try and win on mana.
Vital has been sitting here for about 40 seconds trying to res his pet, and Order has been shutting that down. They're actually, when they did that grip stun go, and they had the chill streak, it killed Vital's pet on his Roar Sacrifice, and he just spent this entire time with no pet. Without that, as a survival hunter, you cannot get your focus back, so you cannot deal damage. You don't have a Mortal Strike effect. In that entire time, Order was actually able to just burn through some of Voltron's mana. I mean, that gave them a huge lead. They just shut him down so much, and I can just see if they keep going for those grip chill streak goes, they're going to be able to kill his pet again, and they can lock it down for a long time. They're rotating interrupts, they're rotating in caps onto Vital to stop him. I think if that happens again, that's just going to be so bad for them. They just need to maintain that pressure. Hitting Vital, it seems like it's actually just the best way to deal with this composition in general. And another beautiful Haymaker from Fitz, knock him out of the darkness. That's pressuring Yas. I mean, I'd like to see the Death's Advance being saved so that they can't get knocked out of those cooldowns. This is something that I
believe it's not.
Other teams do. Sorry, you go.
I thought that was Unholy only.
I think Frost has Death's Advance. If not, they have Pillar of Frost too, I guess. But maybe you're right. Maybe only Unholy has Death's Advance.
I think Frost Death Knights have Death's Advance as well, so it should be okay for him to have that. They only lack the they have the Heart Support. They don't have one of the other ones. They have the Decomposing, but they lack the other one. And we can see, I mean, even though they can get the kills in the pets, I don't know if that's going to be good in the long run with Fitz. Keep that Vampiric touching everyone. If that will be too much pressure overwhelming them deep into Vampiring. which looks like it's going to be going into there, as we can see Voltron once again using that Iron Buck, trying to get away for a drink. Oxygen actually caught into a trap. Yosuke getting in a bit of trouble. The anti-magic zone comes out to deny some of that magic pressure, and Voltron trying to get some low cyclones as well, unable to get that. Getting more denied. Nice fake cast though on that Mind Freeze. Gets stunned up, but then Fitz gets a Mind Control, denying their pressure. This is the Frozen Pillar coming out from Yosuke. So nice Mind Controls onto him, trying to just deny that crazy pressure coming out from the Frost Death Knight.
If they don't run Volchok out of mana, I think Yosuke's going to die in this matchup. So Volchok, if he can sneak away, drink and regenerate, and get going for a deeper dampening kill, I think that is perfectly a good option for them. Volchok moving in to get cross crowd control onto Fresh. 3 versus 1. Yosuke is going to respect the situation, activating his Icebound Fortitude. This reduces damage significantly on himself, but that was the main objective that Unitas were looking for as dampening continues to mount higher and higher. Oxygen is still crowd controlled. He is going to trade out Spearling Totem and Ascendance. This is a big trade by order. Exactly what Unitas needed in this position, because now Volchok's mana is looking dire. Vital, low on health, looking for some assistance. He will trade his aspect of the turtle. Cooldowns are running down to the wire at this point. Another Mana Rift gonna land, and now Volchok, what are you gonna do?
This just looks so scary for Unitas, actually. Now that Order's finally kind of fighting themselves back in this game. I mean, I thought that Unitas was looking good because they fought so many of these melee cleaves. They do seem very well prepared for this matchup, but again, focusing on a Vital. He has no deterrence. He's so low on HP. Volchok has nothing, and they're just harassing him. Vital isn't getting topped off at all. Volchok's still low on mana. He's going for the drink, but how is Vital going to stay alive? These melee cleaves hitting him. He gets the trap onto Oxygen. He's not near any of the melee. They're actually line of sighting and harassing Volchok, but he got that drink. He's at the same mana as Oxygen now. Now they go for the CC. Silence onto Oxygen. They use the Vortex, trying to get extra CC. Nothing really followed up onto Oxygen, but they're actually harassing these DKs so much. Vital doing a great job popping his coordinated assault. He has the aspect of the eagle, so he's hitting Yosuke from range while not being in melee range and avoiding taking damage, and Yosuke actually is just getting hurt so much from this. Prevents him from getting that death strike, and I don't know, it's just so hard to see. Like Unitas, it feels like they just find an answer every time Order gets one, and you could just see how close together these teams are.
Yeah, I mean, Unitas looking in a strong position right now. Volchok nearly getting full mana right now. Order seems to be struggling to create too much pressure against Unitas. I mean, they have the aspect of the turtle down as well as the acceleration, so their kill target looks imminent onto Vital. But the problem is you're leaving Fitz free. Now, Fitz is able to create a lot of pressure, but at the same time, Vital dropping pretty low right now. No Iron Bark for a while, and he's running towards Volchok. I don't like that. He's going to be able to get cross-kick, so they need to be careful. At the same time, Yosuke getting very low in health. Nice Mind Control out of the darkness right now during the bash onto Oxygen. Yosuke struggling to survive, has no cooldowns for the meanwhile. No Spirit Link for quite a while as well. There's the full trap. If Yosuke needs to really get out of there. Uses the anti-magic shell, the only line of defense right now. Nice Mind Bomb onto Oxygen, but Yosuke keeping himself alive with those death strikes. It's dampening, but not too deep into dampening to deny that death strike healing.
All right, let's see if Unitas can keep it together here. They've done everything that they need to, but Vital is a bit of a liability with no aspect of the turtle. Fitz needs to keep his trigger finger ready on that Void Shift to switch his health over to Vital at a moment's notice. If they do rotate those cooldowns, I think that Yosuke is inevitably going to die. Oxygen crowd controlled, fresh in position for a reverse, but a Cyclone cannot be reversed, and Yosuke has got a 3-on-1. He's all alone and will be going down. Unitas overcoming the melee disadvantage, making it look like a matchup that they should win almost all of the time. Now Order need to respond moving into game 2, and what should that response look like, Dilly?
I want to see Unholy. I don't think that Frost is actually good enough against this. We saw a team might run into the same thing. Frost, the only thing that it had going for it is the one time they killed Vital's pet, they actually got a lot of a mana lead. But, I mean, that's just like that one grip chill streak. Otherwise, it doesn't seem like they have any consistent pressure. I feel like Unholy is much better. Frosty guys seem like they actually die very easily to the Shadow Priest Royale because you have so much magic damage coming in. And there's times where Vital is actually kind of kiting away, sitting very far back, and he'll actually let his lane poison stack up, and he'll just come in with like one Mongoose Bite, pop the lanes, does a big chunk of burst, but then they'll move the pet away, they'll move back, so he's not able to death strike, and without that, then it starts to fall off, and they keep him low during that CC chain. It's really hard for a Wrestler Shaman to keep the DK alive if he's not really doing something constantly. But with Unholy, they can constantly shut down the pressure of Fitz and Volchok, plus those Necrotic Strikes are big against both of those classes.
I love watching the way that Unitas play around with the Culturian, with the knockbacks and the space, utilizing that and exploiting it perfectly against a composition that is notably the most durable melee cleave in the game. They exploit all of the weaknesses and take every single advantage, even though they're playing a matchup that we anticipated was going to be heavily one-sided for Order. They make it look like it's actually their matchup to win. Definitely spending a lot of time polishing up their strategies. What map do we anticipate here? Are we going to a small map? I think so.
Probably,
a map to stop drinks, likely, right?
Yeah, probably a small map. I mean, once again, Voltron getting a huge drink led to them to go into deep dampening and win, and they should be able to get some pressure, and I would love to see the Unholy Death Knight come out like Diddy said, and then in the small maps, it will be easy for an Unholy Death Knight to deny heals from the rest of Dread whilst keeping up pressure against the Shadow Priest. So I feel like the Unholy Death Knight has to come. I would maybe like to see TSG come out, but I'm not sure if Order really played TSG.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about TSG. They don't have anyone to play the DK,
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right,
that's the thing. Yasu's the DK and the Warrior.
Maybe
I
Warrior
think
Red.
that Holy is good, and you actually mentioned that thing with the small map with them stopping the drinks, and that's one benefit that I actually forgot about the Unholy DK. Last season, when people played DK a lot, what Death Knights would do, they normally play the Viral and Plague Talent, makes their diseases shorter, but makes them do more damage. But when they would play this composition, instead they would play Unholy Blight, and the only reason they would play this is just so that their diseases would last longer. Then they would pair this with the Epidemic, and when a disease is on the healer, they can Epidemic, cost 30 runic power to use, and it'll just do damage to everyone that has a disease on them. So you do this on healers, no matter where they are on the map, as long as they have the disease on them, you can stop their drink, and on top of
also get
that,
the pet.
Holy has the pet. Yeah, so you have both of those harassing a healer, and you can stop the drinks the entire time the Demon Hunter runs at the healer, sucks his mana away. That's where the DHDK shines. In this situation, they're not really consistently burning Volchok's mana. They weren't playing for that mana burn. They were just playing for damage. Wasn't working out. I want to see the strategy swap, and I think we can expect Order to at least adapt. I think they might be a little bit ready for that.
Dalaran Sewers locked in. Unitas going with the same. Order now have the option to switch, and they will not be playing the same composition. Is this a mistake, Joe?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was one-sided. Yeah, a bit surprised why not play the Unholy Death Knight. I mean, the whole point of the Frost Death Knight is to get that consistent goes, and maybe Fresh could do a bit of a better job getting those mana burns off. He was playing with the mana rift talent, so they could set up those better, keep him out of mana. On the small maps, they can maybe keep Volchok in combat, and then as long as they deny the drinks, they could win this one. But if they don't, then Unitas looked in top form.
You have confidence in Order's composition choice, Dilly?
No, not with the Frost DK. I think that Unitas, they've actually just played this matchup, and even though we think melee cleaves are good, everyone has tried picking melee cleaves into them, and they're the specialists in this scenario, so they actually understand the matchup inside and out. I think that the only thing that Order can do is swap to Unholy. It has to make the difference. Playing Frost is not going to work out. Shadow Priest Druid, I think it's great versus Frost, bad versus Unholy, and I understand people have been playing Frost for a reason, but people also don't play Shadow Priest Druid too much, and I think that's just the answer. I mean, I've said this before. I don't agree with the pick. The Frost DK actually dies quite easily.
Game number 2 underway. Unitas battling for a rematch in the grand finals, a best of 7 against Game Face. Can they do it? Can they go all the way? Order perhaps throwing their series away, locking in the same composition, which got utterly dominated in Game 1. If they can stop Volchok from drinking, though, and keep up their momentum, perhaps they will find victory. But this usage of space and knockbacks from Unitas is a great counter to the defense of both a Death Knight and a Demon Hunter. We see Vital and Volchok and Fitz baiting Yosk and Fresh to the outskirts of Dalaran Sewers, looking for them to jump down out of line of sight. This has now pulled Oxygen into range for crowd control from Vital, but Fresh is in position. Reverse Magic. Fitz now in trouble, trading out the Fade to immune the incoming pressure of Yosk, but Fade does not last very long, and as it has faded away, perhaps he will need to disperse as well. Volchok still in crowd control. Huge amounts of damage from Order initially in Game 2.
Yeah, there was that Vambrick Embrace coming out, and I like what Order are doing this time. I feel like the Shadow Priest is a better kill target for them, even though they get the aspect of the tail the other game. It's the fact that now they can stop a lot of pressure from Fitz. They have 3 interrupts between them all to rotate, to deny the vampiric touches, deny the pressure coming out from Fitz, and are just able to kind of crush him and still do those Death Grip Chaos Nova stuns onto Voltron in order to create double target, multi-target pressure. So I like this strategy more, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to win if Voltron keeps getting away and getting those drinks.
Yeah, with this shorter map, we're actually seeing that Fresh is able to harass and stop Volchok from getting those strings here. He was actually able to double dash, so that means that it's okay for them not to play the Unholy Death Knight in this scenario as long as they're pressuring Volchok. He's not doing so hot on mana this time. They actually have the lead early on. They look like they have a better strategy, even though we're critiquing their play. Seeing Fresh use the Medallion right now, he's just trying to get away. I need to see them locking down Fitz a little bit more, though. Just stop the Shadow Priest as much as possible, prevent his damage, burn Volchok's mana. That is how you will win it as DHDK. This is not a cleave composition meant to win fast. It is a cleave composition meant to kind of win through attrition. You want to play towards that dampening. You want to just play a slow game and outlast your opponent.
All right, let's see if Order can outlast Unitas here. Volchok is already desperate for mana. If Order can keep this up here, they might be serving a victory in game number 2. Volchok looking to escape and drink. Fresh in pursuit, vengeful retreat. Blade Dance going to find Yosk and deny his regeneration. Oxygen, though, is in crowd control, far away from Fresh. No support from the team. How are Order going to exchange cooldowns in this situation? Anti-magic shield activates, denying the kill on Yosk. More than a fair trade, and this is looking a lot different in game number 2. Volchok is almost entirely out of mana. Perhaps the map is playing of utmost importance to the strategy of Order, but we move to the larger maps, we may see Order have to change their compositions. Yosk getting knocked down below and Cycloned at low health. Oxygen repositioning to top him off after that Cyclone. Good recovery, no panic attack there. Volchok escaping to the side, but Fresh is a Demon Hunter. You're not going to be escaping for very long. Entangling Roots, Fresh has a decision to make. Does he reverse magic it? He is. So now he will not be able to reverse magic a freezing trap, but he gets mind bombed. Volchok is in stealth. He's sneaking around the outskirts of the map, looking to sit down for a drink. That's basically Volchok's main objective, but he gets sniped by the Earthbind Totem and didn't get any mana. This is devastating for Unitas.
This is a much better game from Order in terms of not only stopping the drinks from Volchok, but also just getting the pressure on the Fitz, denying his Vampiric touch-up time, and that's going to make it an easier time for Order to survive and also have that win condition, because now Volchok is nearly completely out of mana, and Fresh is just harassing him time and time again, stopping him from drinking, and I think it was a good trade to use that reverse magic to deny that drink, but they nearly were able to outplay it. There's the stun, there's the mana. Actually, I think he might have missed it. I think he may have missed that last one. Volchok using that Innovate. If it gets purged off, then it would be devastation, but it looks like he's going to keep up with healing. The pressure from Order in this game just keeps on mounting. I don't know what Unitas are going to do, Dill.
Yeah, I love this split strategy. Like what they're doing right now, that's what you normally would do with the Unholy DK, but it's working out perfectly fine. Yosk is just able to get that extra pressure, but he seems like he's way more of a kill target. He's taking a ton of damage right now. Fresh, he's activating that Metamorphosis, does finally get Volchok out of stealth. He barely missed it, but he did get a little bit of mana back, so that is a risk. Order wants to maintain as much of a lead as possible. They want to just never let him recover on mana, keep burning them. Fresh just needs to keep harassing him, and I like that he's playing that concentrated flame, using that little bit of range damage as well. And he's always throwing them onto Volchok to actually kind of keep him in combat. You see him activating that I-beam, trying to jump back up to chase Volchok, but he does not quite get it for some time. Just trying to sit on top of him, though, and maintain this mana lead while Yosk whittles through Fitz. They're forcing the Iron Bark, forcing him to use that mana. I mean, this is a slow game, but this is the game that Order does need to play if they want to win.
Unitas need to make it deeper into dampening. They don't have mana to do so. Volchok needs to do some work on that regard. Fresh is looking to deny, but he gets mind controlled. Oh, Earthbind Totem again, though. Sniped by Oxygen. All of Order working together, realizing this is the win condition. Chase Volchok and make him very annoyed and stop his drink. If they can do so, they should be able to end this before dampening overwhelms the Death Knight. But Volchok is playing very cheeky, just constantly running on the outskirts of the map and looking for any opportunity that he can. Fits in a bit of trouble here as Yosk has amped up the pressure with Pillar of Frost. Vital trying to slow down some of that. Volchok escaping to the side of the map once again. How much mana will he get? Fresh is there. Oxygen is there. It shouldn't be too much. Blade Dance going to find him. Fresh now bashed up in the corner. Volchok repositioning, but Yosk is tearing in. Volchok can't afford to just run around the outskirts of the map forever. Eventually, Yosk will find a kill the longer that Volchok is unable to drink.
I mean, at the same time, one thing Unitas has them going for them is like, when Volchok keeps going for her drinks, they're denying pressure onto Fitz because Fresh is just running around trying to stop the drink. Everyone's stopping the drinks, but they're forgetting to pressure Fitz. He's had his dispersion the entire game. They need to force that dispersion to create an awkward situation for Volchok because right now he's just running around for drinks, not really, you know, forcing the enemy team to stop him, but not really needing to heal. But saying that right now, Yosuke putting into work on the Fitz right now. Volchok having 0 mana, probably going to get burned right now. Yosuke trying to force that dispersion. Volchok low as well. He has no mana in the tank. And Order are looking good to take back a game, take the game off of Unitas and stay alive in this competition.
Yeah, they're managing to dominate them with Fresh just chasing Volchok down as much as possible. Like you said, they have him chasing Volchok, so that means Fitz isn't taking as much damage, but he could surely die here. He gets in-cap DR from Fresh. He's just running at Volchok as much as possible. Usually with the Unholy DK at this point, you have both DPS sitting on the Shadow Priest, and then you just have the pet chasing Volchok, but I think they're still going to kill. They're going to go for another mana rip. They don't have a grip for this. Volchok is just dead. Tries to double jump back up. He surely will go down. He has the Bark Skin. This could be it. He's at 10% HP. They're trying to survive. Binding Shot from Vital, saving Volchok as much as possible. Innervates up. He's going to get a quick couple heals, and they don't get the Purge. This is keeping Volchok alive, but for how much longer? Order is in a dominant position. Yosuke, he has that anti-magic shell for the CC chain. This surely will keep him alive, and now they need to harass Volchok, get him low. Once again, Fresh needs to connect, not let him get any drinks whatsoever. Volchok puts that Vortex down, sucks oxygen, but doesn't really get Yosuke away or anything like that, but he is still very low.
Yeah, Volchok sneaks away. Oxygen's trying to move over to stop him. How much mana is he going to get? Nothing. Earthbind Totem going to snipe him once again. Fitz is now in trouble. No defense for him. He could easily fall. Fate just comes off cooldown. He's on the run. Volchok is still trying to drink, but he's just unable to on this map. Beautiful strategy and execution by Order. They're looking likely to close. Vital can't support. He's in a Hex. 2 members of his team are in trouble with not many options left. 1 second away from Barkskin, 50 away from Disperse. Freezing Trap going to be reversed. It's going to be 3 members of Order pushing Unitas around here on Dalaran Sewers. There's nothing left for Fitz for 5 more seconds. How is he going to hold out? Going into Void Form, trying to get some extra pressure out and counter-aggress. They knock Yosk off the side with the Haymaker, buying some time for Fitz to breathe. Unitas has done absolutely everything that they can to keep their heads above water, but they are starting to drown. Volchok has absolutely nothing left. Frenzied Regeneration for a couple of extra seconds. Grip down on the Wild Charge, and Order are looking to slaughter him. He's somehow, some way going, but it is not enough to keep going. Order are going to tie it up 1-1.
I mean, that was just a miracle that Unitas could even survive the last 2 minutes of that game with 0 mana. And that's what I was talking about. They were just focusing so much on stopping those drinks that they didn't really have any pressure coming onto the Shadow Priest. But I feel like the main thing, even though the map helped them a lot, the main thing was the strategy. Going onto that Shadow Priest, denying those Vampiric touches, and creating more pressure was just able for them to, kind of disrupt the gameplay of them more, and also have an easier time for Oxygen to deal with the pressure, because the problem in Nagrand, Fitz got out way too much pressure when it came into dampening, and then Oxygen couldn't really deal with it well. This strategy seems a lot more safer, and I don't know what Unitas is going to do.
Yeah, and this only works on that small map with that Frost DK. With Unholy, they don't run into that issue, like you said.
Yeah.
So what happens is they get the Druid but then the Demon Hunter has to keep chasing the Druid because he's going to be the only one that can keep him in combat. But if he's Unholy, the Unholy DK will be able to harass the Druid. So then you just have them both sitting on him. And then you have Necrotic Strikes. So then you have the Necrotic Strike on the Shadow Priest while the Druid is and then he has the disease on him. The Shadow Priest can't dispel the disease so that he can reset, but if he sits the pet, I mean, it's 2 things to be worried about. Then Volchok has to be rooting the pet. Then he has to be... There's just so many factors to worry about with the Unholy that it lets Fresh at least just be offensive and just sit on the Shadow Priest, do whatever. Because that's normally what's going to happen with Demon Hunter DK. You just have the Demon Hunter chase the healer around, burn them, and then both DPS converge. But here, we just have Fresh just never getting off of Volchok just because Yosuke is Frost, so there's no one to really keep him in combat besides himself.
This might sound totally out of left field here, but how do we feel about Volchok switching to Shaman? Because Shaman can keep regenerating mana even after being mana rifted.
No.
No?
No.
No way? I mean, on the larger maps, no, but on the smaller map.
I mean, the Pack Spirit could, pay its weight worth in gold if Fresh, is just kind of targeting the healer the whole time. You could just say Ghost Wolf and, be extremely tanky, but the problem with the Shaman that I don't like is the fact that they can just crush the Shadow Priest. I don't think, Shaman's going to be able to keep up the Shadow Priest during these games. He's going to struggle out healing the pressure as well, dealing with 2 ranged interrupts. That could just happen at any moment. Not having the Iron Bug is just devastating.
Also, offensively, Volchok Cyclones are how they are able to get these kills. Yeah. So if he goes on the rest of Shaman, even if you're...
I don't even agree. I think they can just win in dampening. If they can keep healing and stay alive, I think they can just overwhelm with silence.
But Shaman isn't as good at healing a DPS. Like Shaman, you play Shaman when you're playing with melee cleaves because they're self-sufficient, right? Like you don't play it with wizards for a reason. And that's the same reason why they're not going to want to pick it in this matchup, just because it's going to be the double melee. It's a lot harder. Even if he doesn't get mana burned as much, the Shadow Priest, like Joe said, he's not going to be able to survive. And then it's going to come down to it where if the Shadow Priest is getting pressure enough, their win condition is Volchok Cyclones. That's what's happened every single time that their Shadow Priest has been pressured. Volchok has to come in clutch for the clones. In that game, Volchok's not able to do that because he's being sat on the entire time. So they're already shutting down his Cyclones. I just don't see them getting a kill other way because that game he couldn't get Cyclones. Look what happened. Order walked all over them. They weren't able to get the kill. Every single time they beat a melee cleave, it was because Volchok came in clutch, doing everything they can to stop him. So you need to shut down Volchok if you want this win. Going Shaman, I mean, you already win at that point.
I think it was against less sufficient melee cleaves, self-sufficient melee cleaves. I think the Death Knight and the Demon Hunter don't care if their healer is crowd controlled until dampening.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Cyclone is a lot less impactful, at least until you do get to dampening. But if Volchok can't get there and has no mana, then on the smaller maps, I'm not sold on the Druid being better.
Yeah, but they have the Haymaker. They're actually doing a lot to stop Yoski from actually connecting. That's what happened in the first game. They were actually like kiting him. They're not letting him get the Death Strikes. I think it's a little bit harder for Unholy to get out Death Strikes all the time because sometimes you need to use Runic Power for Frost Strike. Unholy, using Death Coil, almost a waste of time. You're always saving your Runic Power for that, so you're just only pressing Necrotics. So Unholy is usually more durable, but I mean they're doing a great job at just kiting him. Like that's the reason why it went that way. And on Dalaran, like it's such a small map, he's always able to get that off.
I mean,
that's what I'm wondering is what is the strategies for the small maps on Unitas? I mean, maybe they don't need to because they won the first round, so they will always be able to go to one of these larger maps if this goes all the way to a game 5. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Early on here, we see beautiful cross crowd control by Unitas, stunning up Fresh and denying the reverse for a few moments, getting the Gliders Medallion a major objective out of the way. Order focusing a lot more on Volchok, though, here in game 3.
This was the Frozen Pillar coming out from Yosuke, that beautiful grip into Chaos Nova, getting that so much pressure, forcing the double skins coming out from Volchok, the Bark skin on himself and the Iron Buck on Fitz. And, I think it just comes down to this strategy. I feel like if Order tunnel down Fitz, deny his pressure, either way, big map, small map, I don't think it really matters. I feel like they're going to win with this strategy. Nice life grip, though, coming out from Fitz, though, denying a mana rift, giving Volchok some time to just get away. And on Asher mains, it'll have a bigger pillar to run around to try and get a drink, which will be their main win condition if they want to stay alive into dampening and look for a kill on the Yosuke. But right now we see Fitz getting torn apart by this Pillar of Frost from Yosuke, doing a ton of damage towards him in his pet. A grip stun on the Volchok, once again succeeding with that mana rift. And I feel like these last 2 games as well, Fresh has been doing a better job with that mana rift.
Yeah, I agree with that. He is harassing Volchok so much better. Like that's what you need to do as a Demon Hunter. Now I understand some Demon Hunters, they've kind of like stopped doing that strategy as they started playing Demon Hunter Warrior, but when you are playing Demon Hunter DK, this is your strat. Run at the healer as much as possible. And honestly, Unitas, they're doing a lot to shut this down. So Vital, he's playing Tracker's Net to have a root onto Fresh, and he's also playing Binding Shot. So he has 2 roots to try to stop them as much as possible, trying to cover any traps that they get. They're trying to cover, any harassment that Fresh does. They're doing everything they can. We've seen Fitz using these mind controls to stop these burns. We've seen them using life grips, and still, it's just not enough. I mean, the thing is, you only stop them for such a short amount of time. You stop 1 mana rift from happening, but Demon Hunter DK is so durable that they have so many chances for that to happen, and Unitas just can't finish them quickly. Like, if this comp died easier, like this strategy, doesn't work as well.
Another crazy strategy here I'm trying to come up with, and I need your insight on this. How well does a Survival Hunter do trying to kill a Restoration Shaman? Impossible?
Yeah, not very well.
Not very well. Not at all before dampening? I'm just wondering if there's a strategy where they crowd control the Demon Hunter, try and limit his mana rifts, kill the Shaman earlier on and make it to dampening.
The only thing you can have happen is you can sit on him and you can, throw in some purges on Ghost Wolf, but honestly, I just don't think it's as good. I actually think that the DK is a fine target, and it seems weird, but it's actually good for them to hit him. And now you see that Yasuo, he's actually limited on doing his damage because he realizes he needs to hold his runic power to use Death Strikes. But I don't like the Survival Hunter on the healer. Even if you do that, even if you CC them when it's the Shaman, it just doesn't work out too well. With the Resto Druid, works out.
Whoa!
Volchok, huge damage.
Big burst here by Order. Volchok is basically tapped on mana, maybe tapped for time at this point if he is unable to find a drink. I'm curious to see if we see a strategy adaptation here, because I don't see crowd controlling the Shaman until dampening working. There's too much utility, too much self-sufficiency on this. I think they should focus more on Volchok finding drinks, focus more on Volchok being able to hold on to his mana. I think they should allocate crowd control to the Demon Hunter, not dot him, not damage him, use the Tracker's Net as they have here, keep Fresh away from Volchok as much as possible because they need dampening to kill the Death Knight. If Yas dies before dampening, I mean, it is basically a massive mistake on their side. I think they should focus more of their crowd control on the Demon Hunter and stall the game.
Yeah, I think they should, but I think it's a tool or Order for them to pull off, because I feel like it's very difficult to get away from Fresh on that Demon Hunter. They have a ton of mobility to keep him alive, and Oxygen as well, saving that Earthbind Tome every time Volchok goes into stealth, which is going to deny that drink from happening and buy Fresh enough time to just keep him alive. And, I just feel like this is a good composition from Order. I feel like Unitas, they're just pretty much countered by this, even with the Frost Death Knight. As long as they do those good offensive goes, as we saw earlier with the Pillar of Frost, if he chains 2 targets together so that Chill Streak does a lot, then he should be able to crush them. But we see already Fresh all over Volchok, no matter where he runs, no matter where he goes. If Fresh is free, he's going to deny that drink. And Yosuke is getting a lot of pressure on the Fitz.
Yeah, a lot of pressure indeed. They're just getting them so low at this point. They're using their Maledicts on this go. They get a reverse magic on that trap from Vital, and that's just throwing away all the counter pressure they could possibly have on a Yas. They do get a Mind Bomb, though. That Mind Bomb, not really doing too much, but, I mean, this is the issue. Where they sit onto Yosk, he's never going to die. The best thing that they accomplish with this is that they shut down his damage, because his damage will be so much higher if he's not being hit by being able to use those Frost Strikes. Now, pressure onto Volchok, getting Mana Rifted once more. Fresh is just harassing him. Maledicts come out. He has to dispel himself. He's in bear form. That absorbs some of his frenzy healing. And now Fresh is just harassing him. Goes for that clone. Does he juke it? Oh, he does get juked, but we see that incap from Fresh. But without that incap to use, to get a Mana Rift, this is actually bad for him. Volchok tries to get that cheeky drink for a second, not really working out for him too much. Just going for that Cyclone, trying to pressure Volchok as much as possible. And Fresh just disrupting him, getting that Chaos Nova, and then getting a Mana Rift. A nice Vortex, just trying to suck Fresh back, but you can see, he can easily connect once more. Tracker's Net goes out, he trinkets it. They're doing everything they can. Vital is trying to peel him. He's using a Rue into another Rue, trying to let Volchok get away, but I don't know. This is just so hard for Unitas. Volchok only gets like 20% mana at this point. He has no Innervate for a very long time. I don't know how Unitas is supposed to win this game. Order is just playing so much better. They understand what to do. They're trying to disrupt everything they can. All they get is that grip on that mana burn to give them a little bit more time, but I don't know. This time's not doing anything for them.
I feel like Tracker's Net, bash Cyclone, get the Demon Hunter off of Volchok, and don't play to win. Don't you go for these freezing traps onto Oxygen before dampening. They should just be playing around drinks. Finally, Tracker's Net on Fresh. He can't get around the corner. He can't stop Volchok from drinking. And Oxygen was interrupted and not able to stop it. And that allowed him to get the tiniest bit of mana. I'm guessing that Unitas need to make it to around 30% dampening, 30 to 40% dampening, then start playing to win, start crowd controlling the Shaman, and burst down the Death Knight. If they can make it to that point with enough mana that they're not totally overwhelmed, I think victory is certainly on the table for them, but it's still only 20%, it's still 20% away at this point.
Yeah, it's still going to be hard for them to get away, but right now, Volchok is away. Tracker's Net on a Fresh right now. They're able to stop the drink denier, but like you said, he got a bit of a drink earlier on, and that's going to keep them in the game for now, but Fresh all over him. Yosuke trying to cleave them down. He's going to have that Pillar of Frost and the empowered rune weapon in 10 seconds, and I don't know if Volchok's going to be able to keep Fitz alive if Yosuke's able to get that cleave pressure, but they're doing a good job splitting up. Vital just being on top of Oxygen, kind of denying the cleave pressure, but the Hunter's pet on him as well, so he's still going to get that cleave. There's the Frozen Pillar right now, trying to burst down Fitz. At the same time, though, full trap on Oxygen, a nice anti-magic zone onto him, but a nice knock from Vital, getting him out of the anti-magic zone so they can continue bursting him down. The Death's Advance as well, going to get him back into the anti-magic zone, stay alive, and Voltron needs to find more drinks as much as possible.
Yeah, I love the double Haymaker, and they're actually starting to get this mana lead, but I mean, this is exactly why I was saying earlier, they can't really just go on the Shaman, because if they do, Frosty Gate does too much damage, so they actually just need to, play this way. If
I'm not on the Shaman train anymore. I'm just on the crowd control the Demon Hunter and run laps on the outside of the map, prevent Mana Rift from being used on cooldown, and drag the fight onto dampening and kill the Death Knight.
Then the Frost DK does whatever he wants. Like you cannot do that effectively. Like normally it will work if it's like a Rested Druid, but Frost I think changes that strategy up. Hitting the Frost DK actually does a lot to shut them down. It seems like he's living a very long time, but he's actually getting shut down quite a lot just by them hitting him constantly. He's having a harder time, and we could just see Yas's damage has been pretty low this game just because of that.
I really think if Unitas keep this up, this new adaptation, they've got way more mana. They're now at 20% dampening, 9% away from that 30%. They need to get this Demon Hunter off of Volchok soon, though. He can't afford to tank another Mana Rift. He doesn't have many options. He needs Void Shift. He needs Fitz' help. Where is Fitz in this moment? Volchok's trying to just solo it through, but very risky gamble. He's done it. Now Oxygen is crowd controlled, and we are into deeper dampening. Ooh, it's going to net them a Spirit Link Totem. Beautifully done by Unitas, but this is going to be a hard carry by Volchok, to say the least.
I mean, all of them are just playing phenomenal. Vital doing an excellent build, but Fitz dropping lower and lower right now during this Pillar of Frost. Yosuke in desperation, trying to get that dispersion, but a silence on Oxygen. Voltron dropping low now as well, having to use that Iron Bark on himself. Fresh is doing a lot of pressure right now. Nice Cyclone, though, onto him, keeping him alive. Fitz still holding on to that dispersion, holding on to that Void Shift, and Unitas all of a sudden, the time goes on, even though Order are looking stronger and stronger now, Unitas are at the point where they could potentially win the game if Vulture can survive, but that Crucible of Flame completely took him out, and now Order have swung it back. They are 2-1 up against Unitas and are one way to going back into that grand final.
Well, Order are looking to make the miracle run in the lower bracket, making it through every series. One more win will net them that grand finals against Game Face. Now, if you're Unitas, you are sweating because on the larger map, they weren't able to find victory despite winning on the grand. So at this point, they need to consider their options. Do they switch the strategy to what they were doing mid-game earlier on? I feel like that's something we saw Cloud9 start to do against the Demon Hunter Death Knight, is they would just crowd control the Demon Hunter and have Cubsy run around the outskirts of the map. Even if he doesn't drink, he'd also play Feral Affinity to run faster. He would actually just regenerate mana by moving out of combat around the map and limit the mana rifts. Every crowd control effect into the Demon Hunter, even the Mind Bombs, Tracker's Net, Freezing Trap, he dispels Mind Bomb. Just get the Demon Hunter away from Volchok, remove Mana Rift, and then that way it's only the Frost Death Knight attacking the Shadow Priest. Keep the heal over times on the Shadow Priest. I think he's going to be okay with that. Get into those deeper dampening stages, start the fight with higher mana, and I think they can win the same as Nagrand.
I mean, one thing I would like to know is that, well, I feel like they're kind of doing that. They are crowd controlling the Demon Hunter a lot.
They did towards the end, but sooner and more.
Yeah, I feel like the major thing is maybe to take the Hunter pet off of the Shadow Priest, because if that happens, and Vio, even if he's on the Shaman kind of doing nothing, the Frost Death Knight won't be able to have pressure. The strength of a Frost Death Knight is the fact that they're able to cleave 2 targets because of Chill Streak. If you take away that pet, he can't Chill Streak. It will just literally hit him once, and then it just goes away. So I feel like they could deny Yosuke's pressure a lot if they're able to split that up. Having the pet there, like you said it's only a Frost Death Knight, but with the pet there and the Chill Streak, it is a ton of pressure. That Frozen Pillar only has a minute cooldown, and it's going to get reduced as well due to the talents that they have. So I feel like they need to try and play around that Frost Death Knight more.
The one thing, too, is Vital actually, he stopped playing Roar Sacrifice as well. So I think that's what makes it scary. So he's not playing Roar Sacrifice because when he is playing it, his pet is actually just dying from the damage transfer and the Chill Streak. So I think that's part of why he's scared to like get off of the Frost DK. So it's like you're taking more of the Chill Streak damage, but the pillars would also be a scarier single target.
He doesn't really even need to get off of the Frost Death Knight. I just think they should actually put Freezing Trap and Mind Bomb on the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, I mean they definitely can do that, but I mean I feel like they're using enough of their CC, like using the Freezing Trap. So I mean the Feral Affinity is fine, but all they need to do is actually just stop like the stun itself, but that's still really difficult. And it's just the thing is eventually like he's just gonna have to use his mana.
They
at some
could
point.
save Psychic Horror.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
every time
they're
Feller
playing
up
Mind
to-
Bomb. So when they're playing Mind Bomb, they're playing it for the extra CC, and then they actually kind of need that. I mean, if they're gonna play Psychic Horror, then it has to be on the Shaman because Voltrak is never gonna get a clone. So Mind Bomb is their only time that they're getting that DR. And if he's playing the Horror, then there's only the Fear every minute. So then it has to just come down to them tunneling the Shaman, which is gonna be really hard. Oxygen is like gonna be quite accustomed to that. It has to be like maybe Maledicts and traps on the DH, and getting that on the Dispel and running at him. If they get the purges and the lockdown, that can work. But it's just there's so many different things that they have to change, and there's generally like an answer for almost any of those ideas that the Demon Hunter DK would have.
I just feel like if they keep doing that for too long, then there comes a point where it's like they need to swap it onto the healer, but then there's so many defensive cooldowns they have to get through at that point.
But they can play around it with Haymaker.
What do you mean?
Darkness, Haymaker, knock them out, win.
I mean, he can just Death's Advance back, and they have Spirit Link, he has the Anti-Magic Shell, he has the Icebound Fortitude for safety. If they don't force these cooldowns, they're not going to kill him, even with the limited Death Strike. And I just feel like they won't have that win condition if they just put everything onto the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, like the problem is too, is like even if it comes down to it, I still think that Unholy will make this so much better. And I just think that for almost every answer that Unitas has, it's like you could always think of a counter argument to anything that they would try doing because there's usually just a downside to everything they do. Yes, throw the traps onto the DK, but
I'm just
then
basing it off their victory in first game was high dampening,
But that was just
killing the Death Knight.
that
didn't
was
go on the Shadow
order.
Priest.
They did not play
Yeah.
properly. They were not harassing Volchok in that game. Volchok actually had mana at a certain point. The thing is actually in the deeper dampening, just Fresh is able to pressure him enough. So that's the other thing is even if it goes into deeper dampening, Fresh is actually able to kill Volchok himself, even if he does have mana, because if he does try to, use any heals to keep himself alive, then that gives Fresh the free mana burn. So it's like he's in a lose-lose situation eventually the higher it goes on to dampening.
This is match point. Reigning APAC champions Order looking to advance to the grand finals to face against Game Face. Unitas need to figure out something quick because this attrition fight is not one that is going in their favor. Tolvaron Arena, they left their best map in their back pocket to try and pull this one back, but Volchok is gripped into the fray initially, and Fresh is going to be leading the charge once again, gunning down for Volchok's mana.
And Volchok going to be looking to just abuse this map to the best of his ability, try and stay in max range, try and get away from Fresh to deny those mana rifts, to deny their pressure right now, getting a bash on a Fresh. It actually gets Trinket late. He just wanted to get out of the bash, deny the Cyclone on himself, and just keep up as much pressure going after mana rift onto Volchok. Just get him as out of mana as soon as possible whilst Yosuke there on top of Fitz, on top of Vital as well. Going to be cleaving them both right now. Nice Haymaker from Vital there to get Yosuke out away from Fitz to deny some of his pressure.
This map, this is better from Unitas. I actually think they should have just gone to this instead of Ashmane's because this is actually as large as possible. This gives them the biggest room to breathe. They can just kite a lot easier. Volchok, he's doing better. He's able to kind of space away from Fresh, and this is just forcing him to sit on the Fitz. I think Fresh instead is realizing maybe I'm going to just try to pressure Fitz here because it's hard for him to just sit onto Volchok the entire time. He goes for that backflip, goes for the stun, gets that first burn onto Volchok. This is going to give them a nice little lead, but I think maybe with this game, they need to shut down Fitz a little bit more because also, whenever he's chasing Volchok, that's when they're going to use the CC onto Fresh. Whenever he's sitting onto Fitz, they're not going to be using that CC onto them because they have to hold it, so he could just get that little bit of extra damage that Volchok has to heal through. Now he's going for that first early drink. This is great for Unitas. This is what they want to do. They need to have these happen as much as possible. This is from the map. Full mana. This is great. They have the Mind Bomb. Now they have that pressure on a Yas, forcing him to use that anti-magic cell, but it's broken. They are getting a lot of pressure. I mean, Unitas needs to keep playing this exact way. The only concern is that if Order can still survive into deeper dampening, that's when it doesn't really matter how much mana Volchok has as long as they're still alive and as long as they've kind of forced them to be defensive. But, ooh, beautiful grip from Fitz. They're trying to keep the momentum as high as possible. They need to do this. They just need to keep Volchok as high as possible and then just run around the map, just make it so that Fitz is never getting pressured and, getting as much damage as possible onto Yosuke. I think that's everything they need to do.
Fitz's leap of faith is a good adaptation here from Unitas. He can pull Volchok to his side when Mana Rift is channeling on the ground a purple circle that burns Volchok's mana. Fitz can pull him out of it and allow Volchok to hold on to more mana. This is typically the strategy we see from a Shadow Priest and their healer when facing this strategy. Crowd control on the two members, and Yosuke is isolated. Good pressure finally here from Unitas. Anti-magic shield will be forced, but should allow Yask to easily recover. Volchok doing a phenomenal job here, running on the outskirts. I love this strategy that he's utilizing. This map is looking a lot better for them overall, but they've still got a long way to go. Probably upwards of 7 or 8 more minutes of this without making a mistake if they want to get to that point in dampening where Yask will be most vulnerable.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Unitas, to say the least, to deal with this. And I actually like this adaptation from Order. I feel like if they're unable to stop the drinks from Volchok, they need to try and pile on more pressure onto Fitz. Get his dispersion out of the way as soon as possible and look to try and crush him, because that way you're going to force Volchok to have to heal rather than running away 24/7 looking for those drinks. So I would like to see that adaptation from Order, just particularly on this map, so that Volchok has a harder time and has more of a decision to make when it comes to looking for a drink. Another thing I would like to note is that Oxygen has been playing the Relentless talent against this Hunter Shadow Priest, and I think that's been paying its weight worth in gold, because he's been able to just sit less crowd control on this like huge chain crowd control that we see just there onto Oxygen, and it buys him enough time to just then be able to keep his team top nice and easily before deep dampening.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Like, the Relentless is probably one of the best talents you can take against this composition. I mean, that's a 20% CC reduction when it just adds up so much up against this composition. And with durable melee classes, like a Death Knight, like a Demon Hunter, he doesn't ever need to panic and have to use a Gladiator's Medallion to keep them alive. So that just means that they're going to stop so much consistent pressure that comes out.
All right, let's see if Volchok can keep it up here. He's been doing a good job so far. 20 seconds away from dampening starting. Perhaps they can pull this to a game 5, but now that they don't have the swing match advantage, Order, they're going to pick a small map. And on a small map, Volchok will not be able to utilize the strategy that he is. And at this point in the game, he'd probably be out of mana, Burning Dispersion, and Fade. So this is looking very grim for Unitas. Even if they manage to pull it off here, which I'm not totally sold that they can, I'm almost wondering if they're going to have to change something, but I don't think they have the option to change anything. This is devastating for Unitas. They had a phenomenal performance yesterday. They were 1 win away from just being in the grand finals, and maybe Game Face could have just dealt with Order for them. I was saying Unitas needed to avoid this team if they wanted to find victory. It's going to be a long road if they want to get it, but we see fresh sniping. Volchok again on an attempt to drink fell eruption. There is the mana rift, the purple circle taking further mana from Volchok. And big hit incoming. He's struggling just to heal through freshest damage around the corner. Fitz is getting punished by Yask in midfield, and at this point, it's looking like Order have Unitas in a chokehold. It's just a matter of time.
They just forced that dispersion as well. That was the mana that goes onto Volchok, so he just needed Fitz to keep himself alive there whilst Volchok had to deal with the Maledic pressure. But nice crowd control coming out from Unitas, but no win condition in sight for now. Volchok is ahead on mana though. Oxygen actually getting lower and lower, so I feel like if Unitas are going to win, it's going to be on this map, and they could do it. It's not going to be an easy task at all, but so far it's looking good for them in terms of Volchok being able to get some mana. Oxygen though, time and time again, stopping these drinks with his Earthbind, but Fitz now doesn't have that dispersion for quite a long while.
You know what I think actually is the kill condition from Unitas? They need to force Yaski to use AMS without them using Maledics, then commit a triple Maledic go when they have the CC onto Oxygen, when they have no reverse magic. If they can get those 2 things, now these are 1-minute cooldowns, and it is difficult to do this, but I think they could actually just unload all of their damage onto Yaski, just force everything that way. That seems like the best way of doing this. So what I would think is maybe Vital, pop his burst cooldowns, try to force the AMS, maybe Fitz go into that void form. That's the win condition that I see for them. If they don't do this, if they aren't lining up those Maledics, there's no way that Yaski's going to die from them just brute forcing it, because instead what I see happening is they throw 1 Maledic and then it gets an AMS reactively, and then they're never able to chain it. So if they can get that out the way, they just need to pressure them all, get a long chain onto Oxygen, and doing what they're doing to regain mana, that's great, but they're still not doing what they need to offensively for the kill, because normally they rely on Volchok to get these Cyclones, and it's not happening. So Vital and Fitz, they need to work together. They have to really, really try hard, and I think they can get the kill on the Yaski. I just see that as something that they can improve.
I want to see a leap of faith from Fitz here shortly to deny a mana rift on Volchok. They need to stall as many of them as possible if they want to even have a chance here. They're halfway to that 30% mark on dampening, and Oxygen's mana isn't doing too great either. This is the best position we've seen Unitas now that Order have started nailing these mana rifts so far in the series. They could take it to game 5. Volchok is sitting off in the corner. Are they going to be able to stop him in time? Auction is now silenced, and this is the momentum we wanted to see. Yas gets haymakered, but doesn't go anywhere. Likely with Death's Advance active, is not going to be knocked back. Nice leap of faith on the mana rift. Volchok avoids one and maintains a significant lead at this point. If there was an opportunity for Unitas to win against Order in this matchup, it would be here, and it would likely be pretty close to now. Anti-magic zone has been forced out of the way. Anti-magic shield has been forced out of the way. He gets haymakered out of its defense.
Ooh.
Beautiful denial. Fresh is caught in a tracker's net. He cannot reverse magic to freezing trap. Unitas finally playing to win here. Deeper into dampening. They set Volchok up for a drink as well. Yosk is still in trouble. I think Yosk is full, or Volchok's pretty close to full mana, and Unitas are doing the impossible.
Yeah.
That was a nice knock trap coming out from Vital. They're knocking Yosuke away out of that darkness. They're keeping the pressure on him, and Oxygen is running out of mana. He has the Spiriting, he has the Earthen Wall Tome, so they have the cooldowns to survive, but I'm not sure if he's going to have the mana to keep him alive, whereas Volchok does. Order need to change up something, and it looks like they're trying to get pressure onto Fitz, but he is also going to have all of his defensive arsenal. Full trap on Oxygen, it gets reverse magic. Nice silence timing coming out from Fitz into a mind bomb whilst they're pressuring Yosuke. They burn through the anti-magic shell, and now for a minute he has no magic immunity, so Fitz can get a lot of pressure onto Yosuke, dropping lower and lower on HP. They have the cooldowns if needed. Oxygen trying to run in, going to use that Spirit Link shortly if he cannot keep up with the healing, but at the same time Vital is going to be having that trap very soon. This could be good for Unitas.
Yeah, I can actually just see this being the game that Unitas wins. This map is going well for them. They're starting to understand the strategy. They've been forcing AMS without using those Maledics. We have that full trap, and it breaks. This is huge. That is very, very unfortunate that freezing trap broke onto Oxygen. It was not the reverse magic from Fresh, but I want to see Vital going for the CC chains in a way when Fresh is trying to chase after Volchok at this point of the game, because then he has to make that decision to reverse magic, and if they can keep doing that, they can force Yasui's AMS, and we could get that go that we need to see. They've done a great job knocking them out of Earthens, cutting Yasuke out of this Earthen. He wants to chase after Vital. This is looking great for Unitas. This is 32% dampening. He's got that Pillar of Frost. They're trying to pressure Volchok. Beautiful life grip. They have the Maledics onto Volchok. Now they're trying to commit onto him, and he has to dispel himself. Now there's that backflip from Fresh, but he gets rooted on it immediately from Vital. Now this keeps him very far away, and we see that Cyclone come out from Volchok onto Fresh. Auction, he's the one with no mana. Yosuke, how are you going to stay alive? He gets haymakered. They're trying to connect onto Volchok, who keeps going for these drinks. Unitas are playing this map to perfection. You could see the kill right at the tip of their tongues at this point.
Oh, Vital getting bursted in a swap. Surprise attack by Order to try and pull themselves back into this, but Vital stays in it with the aspect of the turtle. Spirit Link Totem going to be forced on the side of Order. A very important cooldown to stay in it, but Vital is taking huge pressure. This swap might cost them the game. Can they pull it off? Fitz is spamming out mind controls to assist Vital. Volchok is trying to recover. Full freezing trap, no reverse magic. This is it. This is the moment Unitas have been waiting so long for to find a kill. Gladiator Safeguard is proc. Fitz needs to work on stripping off the Earth Shield and Riptide as frequently as possible. Oxygen now in a Mind Bomb. Perfect timing. Yosk, he's got Icebound Fortitude. Why is he not activating it? He has the defense. He's just not using it at 10%. This is going to be a throw if he ends up going down. Deathstrike not doing too much here at 40% dampening, and Yosk is looking like he will fall, barely staying alive. Ultimately, Deathstrike is not going to do it. Yosk, I can't believe it at this point. One more death. He still has Icebound Fortitude. Darkness, where's the knockback? Do they have the knockback? He may get unlucky here and die to dots. Oxygen is Cyclone, but Vital is in trouble. Iron Park Void Shift, barely staying alive here. It's coming down to the wire here. It's match point. Order, look to advance. Yosk is somehow still alive, but now finally getting crushed. Unitas stay alive in the tournament. We're going to a game 5.
So the reason you actually were thinking that Yosuke, he was not using Icebound. Yep, he was playing Lichborn. So Joe and I, we both noticed that. But the way they're setting up this kill makes so much sense. So they're all playing the Concentrated Flames. If they get the AMS out the way, they have the high stacks of Concentrated Flame. That's so much magic damage that hits the DK. You throw that in with the Maledics, he gets bursted down, and he cannot Deathstrike back up because he just has that absorb, and it's not going to get that much damage. So throw that in, Latent Poison, Concentrated Flames at the same time from both Vital and Fitz, and then a Latent Poison pot. So much magic damage. It doesn't matter that Yosuke is plate. He gets bursted down, and that's how they get that kill. And it took 47% dampening. But this makes me wonder if Order just swaps up to Unholy. I still don't think Unitas has that answer. I think the Unholy just makes it better, and this was just Unitas' map. They played it beautifully, did everything they needed to do. They found their kill window, but that's only for that game and for that match. And I don't know, they don't have the map pick advantage here.
I don't think we go Unholy on the small maps.
Why?
We stay
Why not?
Frost on the small maps.
No, I think Unholy is just better because you have the extra disruption. It's always easier for you to have your Death Strikes available, and Fresh gets to do more damage because he doesn't even have to worry about chasing Volchok. You already have the Unholy disruption. There's no reason why you would play Frost. Like it's been fine to, but Unholy just has the benefit in this matchup. They do pretty much the same exact damage. The only thing you get extra is the Necrotic Strike, which is going to be a little bit harder for Volchok to deal with.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Unholy could be a bit better. I feel like both work, though. Like, Frost Death Knight definitely adds to that cleave pressure, and they are very durable as well. That Heartstop Aura, as well as the Delirium, can be very annoying for enemy teams to deal with, but doesn't do too much against the Shadow Priest either. I just feel like either work. I do think it's a bit map dependent, but Tolviron gone now, it's going to be very difficult for Volchok to get away and just, go these drinks that he's been able to get away with on Tolviron. And
well, they got totally owned on Dalaran.
I mean,
like totally owned.
Yeah, that was like their favorite map too, though, which is kind of funny because they were always using that Haymaker. They were using the Nox on Dalaran. They did a great job. That did not work out for Unitas.
Yeah.
So we go to Hook Point. You're a Druid.
Yeah.
What? How are you gonna drink, Volchok?
Yeah, well, you can drink your own tears.
If only.
Yeah, I think
after the game.
After the game. This is why I'm wondering if maybe he should just try Shaman, because Shaman will regenerate through Mana Rift. I've seen it the entire year. Restoration Shamans can't be Mana Rifted. Even if they're out of mana, they just keep going and going and going.
But they weren't playing with a Hunter and with a Shadow. Like the Hunter died. Like the Hunter
isn't there a leech build for Hunter? I swear you can run a leech pet.
You could play you could play a leech
build.
pet and then you give up Master's Call, but even then it's only 10% leech and you're still gonna get cleaved a lot. Like that is what you would do when you have the Shaman, but it's not about that. It's like not enough to sustain you. The Shaman's healing output is just actually weak. Like it doesn't suddenly turn a Survival Hunter into a Demon Hunter, because the Demon Hunter, not only do they have that high leech, but they also have the blur. They have the
I mean, they're straight up not going to survive 40% dampening without a Druid. If they don't have Volchok healing on their rest of Druid against the Shadow Priest, then Order are just going to completely crush
I think on Hook Point they kill Shaman. I swear. You play Feral Affinity, YOLO.
No, that's the only thing I see. So this is the map. I actually think maybe Tracker's Net, Diamond Ice, run at him, spam Purge the Ghost Wolf, and then just all play triple Crucible.
Flame. Shaman.
Yeah. I don't know. I still like the Feral Affinity
for this. It could backfire, but I'm just saying that's what I've seen this year.
Yeah, I know. I just think the Feral Affinity actually for that strategy. I think this is the map that you're right. Do everything all in onto Oxygen and just spam Purge him. Throw in those Maledics. Just use a Maledic every stun instead of chaining them in this situation, just because they're going to be playing Diamond Ice, and you just rotate that. Do everything you can. I think that's the play.
Now they can Tracker's Net the Demon Hunter around a corner and then Hex. And try and chain the crowd control at the same time. But you could cross.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still kick while Tracker's Neck, and it's small enough that he's not going to be able to make max range and get that Hex unless he walkers.
Either way, I think it's good that they throw this curveball. I mean, the Druid worked on Nagram because of a strategy mistake from Order, and then it worked on Tolviron because of the map. So I think it's good that they at least try the Shaman, see how it goes, but I still feel like Order are just more favorable in this matchup. I mean, Unitas have to do a lot to get a win, whereas Order just pretty much their win condition is, ooming a healer and creating pressure on the Shadow Priest.
What about this? Now I'm going full crazy mode here. Okay, what if you freezing trap the Demon Hunter, silence Mind Bomb the Shaman into Hex, and kill?
I mean,
the Survival Hunter struggles to kill the Demon Hunter because of the dodge. So if they give up the stuns, then they have no way to get the kill. It has to be the DK dies because he's not gonna dodge every single attack from the Hunter. It has to be either the Shaman or the DK. This is the map that the Shaman dies because they don't have the exact time limit. They need to bring it to dampening on that big map to get the kill onto the Death Knight. Not happening here. Has to be Oxygen. I really think that Diamond Ice and then just throwing a Maledic every single time you have a stun and just absorbing any small healing, purging off the Ghost Wolf as much as possible, sitting on him, just going for that aggressive strategy, playing that Psychic Core. So you could Psychic Core to silence, you could Intimidation another go, you could just keep rotating your pressure and then have Volchok and Fitz just spam purging. Maybe even Volchok playing Electrocute would be good just to help out on those purges, especially maybe giving Fitz those damage windows.
I worry that Order can do the same thing to Volchok on Shaman.
Sure, but I mean that's Order's win condition, or that's Unitas' win condition. But also, if they're CCing the melee, that at least is going to stop them from doing that. So the reason why it's normally not good for them to do that is because you're only denying the inevitable from happening. But here, this game, it's like a bloodbath. They just need to do what they can to force it through. Now we have the gates right about to open.
Game 5, everybody. Everything going down to the wire here today on Championship Sunday. Will the reigning champions of APAC Order advance, or will Volchok switching over to Shaman be exactly what Unitas need to find victory for their rematch against Game Face in the Grand Finals? It's an all Australia-New Zealand affair in our top 3. Only one more spot remains to be claimed at BlizzCon at the World Finals, and these 3 teams are fighting for it. Oxygen is the target for Vital, so Unitas are mixing up a lot of strategy in game number 5. Let's see if Order are ready for it.
We already see Order. They're going on to Fizz. They bring in Volchok as well with that Death Grip stuff synergy, trying to create cleave pressure onto both of them. And that's the way that Order have been netting their kills throughout this match, whereas Unitas, they've eventually been getting massive chain crowd controls onto Oxygen and usually end up killing Yosuke, but it seems very difficult for Unitas to pull this off right now against Order. And, you know, this is what I was scared of. If Fresh and Yosuke just tunnel down Fitz, the double blinding seat now, so he's actually playing with that instead of the asphyxia, getting so much pressure on the Fitz, actually forcing the trinket to come out from Volchok in order to keep Fitz alive, as well as that fade cooldown. So this is going to be a very difficult match for Unitas to win.
So I think the blinding switch up is just because they have the rest of their Shaman from Volchok before they're not using that, because they're not going to really be able to get those grip chaos numbers as much. Just the strategy is so much different. So with the blinding sweep here, works out. They're going to cleave them way more on this map, and that's why I just don't like the Shaman unless they are going onto Auction. But look, we see the Psychic Core, so that is the kill target. That is the strategy. DR Sun comes out, Auction's getting pressured. He has to use this wall. They need to keep this momentum onto him. Vital, he has the right idea, and in 20 seconds, he has this major burst cooldowns available. Oxygen, he has no wall. He'll have to pre-earth there, man. I mean, this is looking better. The Unitas, they have to do this. They have to kill Oxygen. Otherwise, there's no win condition. They gave up the Mind Bomb. They are playing for that Psychic Core, and that means that I think they want to just trap Oxygen as low as possible. Only 90%, not that low, but still, eventually, I think if they just keep pressure on him, stun him, burn him down, trap him low, they keep rotating this between Yosk and Oxygen. That's going to be their kill window as long as they CC Fresh. But we can just see Volchok is so low on mana. He just has to heal Fizz so much. Big cleave.
Huge cleave from Yosk here. Volchok tries desperately to recover, but with Ascendance activated, it's going to be an easy recovery. Oxygen the target once again here. I'd love to see a double Psychic Scream onto both Fresh and Yosk when they stun lock Oxygen. They're using freezing traps on Fresh, but dispelled off. Fitz needs to look for a Psychic Scream here, and they need to stun Oxygen up. Oxygen on the run. Volchok getting mana rifted again. Still want to see those leap of faith from Fitz to pull him out. Stun on Oxygen. Where's the Psychic Scream from Fitz? No cross crowd control. Do they have the silence to follow up? They do, but Oxygen's going to slip into the anti-magic zone. He's going to respect the swap, though, and drop his Spirit Link Totem to recover. Fitz now on the back foot from that push, but cooldown-wise, I would say that Unitas are looking solid. It just becomes a question of, can Volchok heal with 0 mana? I've seen it in the past. Restoration Shaman's healing forever with 0 mana. They also heal more when the target is at low health with their mastery, so Volchok will be able to just kind of sit there waiting for his mana to regenerate. Then he heals a target when it's very low for a huge value. Volchok is slipping away and trying to drink. Fresh charges over and denies.
Nice deny coming in for Fresh. Actually forcing the trinket of Volchok. He's holding desperately for the rest of that mana, because I think he knows as soon as he's out of mana, that may be the last of it, because I don't think he's going to be able to get away getting a drink against Order. And, you know, I don't see him healing Fitz with 0 mana against the Frost Death Knight Demon Hunter. I'll be very surprised if he's able to pull it off, but we'll be able to see if that happens. A trap once again on the Fresh. Nice dispel from Oxygen. I love his positioning. Able to dispel that trap and not get caught in a stun in normal form. Actually getting Ghost Wolves during the stuns to keep him alive, but it does get purged off right now. The silence comes in as well. He actually chooses to use that Astral Shift, keep himself alive. Volchok is completely out of mana, and I think Order are going to take this pretty soon.
Yeah, Order, they are just crushing Unitas on mana. I mean, they're getting so close. They're trying to get that pressure onto Oxygen, but they're respecting it well enough. Those Maledicts are just being used, and Oxygen is just using that Dwarf just to avoid it. I mean, it just looks too difficult for Unitas at this point. This map is so small. Voltrak has nothing. They're just going to get cleaved down. Fresh is just having a great time sitting on the Fitz. They obviously have all their defensive cooldowns, but what does that matter when they have, I mean, when they have no mana? I mean, what's Voltrak supposed to do at that point? He's getting cleaved with this Chaos Nova. There's the Mana Rift. Actually hits both of them, so they're all taking damage. Cap Totem comes out. Voltrak Safeguard gets purged off. Spirit Link with the last bit of his mana. Fitz has Dispersion, but he has Dispersion and Life Sub, but what's that going to do? They're just going to cleave them. I mean, it doesn't do anything at this point in the game, and that Psychic Horror was reversed back onto Fitz, so now Oxygen is not in trouble whatsoever. Vital getting cleaved by Yasuke as he cannot connect onto Fitz. They're using Concentrated Flames, trying to stay aggressive. We actually see Fitz grip Vital in, trying to stay onto Oxygen, but I don't see him dying. This looks like Order will be advancing to the grand finals.
They swapped Oxygen. They're desperate. I can't help but feel that this is so devastating for Unitas. If they had played that run around the ring around the rosy strategy and drink on Ashamanes, I think they would have won. They would never have lost the swing match advantage. They could be on Tolvaron right now and be on match point to find victory. They're desperate. They have nothing. They're all basically dead. They have to kill Oxygen in a miracle swap, but I don't know if they're going to have the opportunity. Vital going to have to activate Aspect of the Turtle. Overlapped with Void Shift. The defense is starting to totally fall apart for Unitas. They are not deep enough into dampening to kill the Death Knight at this point, and Volchok is going to have to pull off a sick miracle play to keep this game going. Can he do it? Can Unitas, the three-man roster here, unfortunately, their entire team unable to make it to the competition, but still making it to a top 3 in the APAC finals, trying to go all the way, trying to get to BlizzCon. Vital with nothing left. Order absolutely crushing him. Oxygen stunned up by Fitz. He's desperate to try and get a kill, but I don't think they have enough damage to do it. Voltron barely sneaks in a heal over onto Vital, but now interrupted, and Vital will fall. Order advance to the grand finals with a Cinderella lower bracket run. Can they outdo Game Face is now the question.
I mean, I can't wait to see that game. Order against Game Face. I don't think we've seen it yet. Both of these teams are titans of their region, but I've got to say, well played to Unitas getting all this way with such a roster comp disadvantage, having not their full roster, able to get the third place spot with a composition we didn't expect to do well as a three-man roster. They should be holding their heads up high.
If they had been able to win Ashamanes.
I mean, yeah, but you say it as if it was as easy as cutting butter.
I think if they had been doing the strat from the start, it would be.
That strat was really hard for them to deal with, I think.
On Tolvaron? I think it looked really hard for Unitas on Tolvaron.
Oh, not on Tolvaron, but Ashamanes.
I think on Ashamanes, if they do it from the start, it can.
Ashamanes is still a different story. It's not big enough. Tolvaron is absurdly big. Absurdly big. And Ashamanes, yes. I know, because every time I face RMD on Ashamanes, I'm like, oh, this is okay. I fight them on Tolvaron, I'm like, no, it's not okay anymore. So I feel like it's the same thing, but I mean, they could be, they might be a bit tilly about that, but they should be happy with their performance. The fact that they got to a best of 5 against Order as one composition is very good.
I love the fact that Order do this to us every single year, getting sent to the lower bracket and then doing the long haul run all the way to the grand finals. Can the reigning champions do it? We got a winner's interview down on the stage with Dilly. What do they have to say?
All right, guys, I'm joined here once again with Oxygen, who is trying to make his back-to-back 2 years in a row miracle run to BlizzCon from the lower bracket after losing in the first round. I want to ask you guys, what was going through your head at this point? You guys were so close. You lost that Tolvaron game. I was really curious, too, why you guys ended up not playing that on Holy Death Knight, which probably would have been better on that map.
We've just been practicing more with Frost, and we feel like we can bang on our grip burn goes with Frost better. Just chill trick damage is just insane, and I know they played that Tolvaron really well. That's probably the main reason why Voltrak got a lot of good drinks on there, and they actually crossed me and Fresh really well.
All right, so the only thing that we haven't seen you guys fight is we haven't seen you go up against the Rogue Mage Paladin, I think in quite some time, up against Game Face. We didn't even see it too recently in the Cups, I think. So are you guys feeling confident against that? That's something that you guys haven't matched up with. And we know that your team is normally great at adapting to teams that you have fought before. Even if you lose, that's what happened with you guys with Grey. You lost to them, figured them out, beat them. You did that to Unitas last year when they actually defeated you in the first round. But with Game Face, you haven't fought them, and it's a Game 7. Do you think that even if you start losing, you'll be able to make a comeback against them?
Well, obviously they're a good team, the upper bracket finalists. We've been wargaming each other a little bit in the land prac, and I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Best team will win. Both teams are really good.
Will we see your secret comp involving a little something?
Depends. Just depends. You might see the surprise pick.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. Back to you, Sid and Joe.
Well, we love surprises here in the APAC finals. Orders have done it. Long lower bracket run. Look at this. They lost to Order lost to Gray in the first round of the day yesterday. They had to beat ZFA. They 3-0'd them. They had to beat Team Light. They 3-0'd them. They had to beat Gray in a rematch, and they 3-0'd them. Now here against Unitas, came down to the wire. If Unitas had been able to win that swing match, they could be the ones in the grand finals. But no, Order will assemble to face off against Game Face. The first time that we've seen these Australian New Zealand teams face off in quite some time. It's anyone's tournament really here because Game Face are running that Rogue Mage Paladin. Such a powerful composition, but as we found out, Order may have some surprises for us.
Yeah, they might do. I mean, I feel like we won't see it depending on if Game Face change their composition. I feel like it won't happen just now. I feel like both the teams seem to be sticking to their guns. I feel like Game Face will be that Rogue Mage Paladin. Maybe Order will stick with that Demon Hunter Death Knight into that. I feel like that's a good chance against the Rogue Mage Paladin as long as they're able to shut down their crowd control. I feel like they need to do a better job defensively in order to live against the Rogue Mage Paladin, though, because this burst damage is just completely nuts coming out from Game Face.
Well, we've got two teams and only one spot at BlizzCon. We're going to find out which one will take it right after this.